A kid, an 8-year-old, says that she is a boy, and the school is not permitted to tell the parents that the girl thinks she is a boy and goes by a boy's name in her school. Do you think that that is a moral and good law?
I don't think about this. I'm so sorry, but when I look at Donald Trump, this is a man who tried to overthrow the election and resist the peaceful transfer of power. I can't think of a thing that I think less about than how where trans people stand. Just to be clear, hold on. Just to be clear for people that don't know. Just to be clear for people that don't know my background.
You
Okay,
guys on the left should thank God every day for Donald
Hold on, we'll wait, Dennis.
In this video, Destiny and Dennis Prager, founder of PragerU, debate on the David Pakman Show. The topic of discussion in this clip is primarily around trans issues, but Destiny tries to avoid the topic by talking about January 6th. Dennis Prager picks up on this and lets Destiny have it with both barrels. With that, let's watch Dennis Prager slaughter woke idiot Destiny.
There are left-wing think tanks, liberal think tanks, conservative think tanks, right-wing think tanks, and they're all permitted to put out whatever they want. Am I permitted? And I'm not being cute. If I'm not, I'm not. But can I ask Stephen a question?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stephen, how do you stand on men who say they're women competing in women's sports?
I'm assuming the question has to do with trans people competing in sports. I think that my personal view is that sports up through probably high school are just there for people to kind of like play games and get along with each other and, you know, like build camaraderie and stuff. So I don't really have much of a concern past or up to that point. Once you get to NCAA or professional events, I think that the dividing between the sexes is very important for athletic competition. So I'm generally opposed to trans people participating in the gender they identify with.
So you know then that the Biden administration has extended the anti-discrimination legislation passed to protect women. They have extended it to trans people. You are aware of that?
That they've done what?
They have extended it to trans people so that
wait, extended what to trans people? I'm sorry.
You cannot discriminate against trans people. If a man says he is a woman in college, he should be allowed to play in college sport. That is the Biden administration's position.
I'm not aware of that right now. I thought it went the opposite. My understanding, just to be clear, my understanding is that right now they can't.
All right. So what is your position? Since I think the whole left stinks, you think Donald Trump stinks. So I talk about the left. So let's go to Gavin Newsom. In California, where I live, there is a law. It is a law. It's not a recommendation. That if a
First off, let me say Gavin Newsom is the devil. I'm looking forward to hear what Dennis Prager has to say about him. I don't know why progressives and leftists have to complicate the men and women's sports thing. I would bet a lot of money on the fact that Destiny's never played a sport a day in his life, so he probably doesn't really know what sports is about. But I know in high schools there have been injuries to teenage girls playing against a biological male, specifically in volleyball. I believe one girl got a concussion from getting a ball spiked in her face. And I believe in Europe, where rugby is more popular, there have been multiple injuries to young ladies playing against men. So Destiny's argument is ridiculous. Biological men shouldn't play in women's sports, period. Let's get back to the video.
A kid, an 8-year-old, says that she is a boy, and the school is not permitted to tell the parents that the girl thinks she is a boy and goes by a boy's name in her school. Do you think that that is a moral and good law?
I don't think about this. I'm so sorry, but when I look at Donald Trump, this is a man who tried to overthrow the election and resist the peaceful transfer of power. I can't think of a thing that I think less about than how where trans people stand. Just to be clear, hold on. Just to be clear for people that don't know. Just to be clear for people that don't know my background.
You guys on the left should thank God every day for Donald
Hold on, we'll wait, Dennis. If Stephen, hold on. If Stephen doesn't want to answer the question as you see it, allow him not to answer it.
Sure.
But let's
Or
hear.
I'll answer it.
I'll
answer it. I was banned from Twitch for opposing the integration of trans people into sports. I don't think it's appropriate. I probably stand in opposition to a lot of the very far left.
Okay.
What?
The law. Okay, so let me just go on record. I can give you The rest we could talk hours.
Sure. What's the California law for the 8-year-old? Go ahead. What was it?
Yes, you cannot, a school cannot tell a parent, not doesn't have to, is not allowed to tell a parent if a child identifies as the other sex in a California school.
That would probably be something I'd be opposed to as a parent. I think I would want to know that if my kid was identifying as a different gender in class.
Correct. So you see, if it weren't for Trump, you would have to spend the time with me or anyone else defending the.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
The left and their scummy little laws like that ruin lives of kids and have girls get their breasts cut off at 18 or even younger. It's like nothing matters. All that matters is January 6th. Every time I raise an issue, we go back to January 6th.
Because he tried to rebel. It was a rebellion against the peaceful transfer of power.
He told people to go peacefully to the halls of Congress.
He told Mike Pence, why were they going there? What were they going there for?
To protest the results of the election.
Exactly.
Because they thought it was cheating. You're right.
Exactly. It was an insurrection. They thought, no, you're not allowed to protest with violence.
You're not allowed to overthrow, but you were allowed to protest.
When they were going there to support Mike Pence, what did they want Mike Pence to do?
Yes, they wanted Mike Pence not to accept certain electors from certain states.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right.
Correct.
Okay, but okay.
Which was against the ECA, right? That was illegal under the Electoral Count Act, right?
But I don't agree with that, and
that's fine. I don't agree with insurrectionists either, but you understand the ridiculousness of wanting to have a man who has now usurped criminal immunity as the president. So a lot of the illegal actions that he took. Right. Okay. Remember, Roberts, in his opinion, said explicitly that when Donald Trump told his acting and his deputy attorney general, can you guys write fake notes to the state legislatures to say that we found evidence of voter fraud that wasn't there? We can't even criminally review that anymore, right? So a man who's now criminally immune, who tried to overthrow the government, that's going to stand out more in my mind, even if they failed at it.
So Destiny is some kind of political commentator, and to quote him, he doesn't think about laws that affect parents and their children. I've lived in California before, but I could not imagine raising a child there. The law that Dennis Prager talked about doesn't say that school administrators don't have to tell parents if their child is identifying as another gender. It says they can't. So it's a law that interrupts communication between a child and their parents, the most important people in that child's life. That is utterly ridiculous, and yet another failure, if not crime against parents, by Gavin Newsom. He is the absolute worst. Destiny has such an obsession with January 6th. Dennis was right to call him out when they're talking about trans issues, and he says, I don't think about that, and then just pivots to January 6th. As you've probably heard me say before, if this didn't get 24-hour-a-day media coverage ever since it happened, I guarantee Republicans and Democrats would have looked at it and been like, that was dumb. Republicans would have said, we denounce that. We don't support violence over political disagreements. And then the public would have forgotten about it. It was a peaceful protest that, because of a couple of bad apples, became physical, property was damaged, and it turned into a riot. And I don't support any of those actions, but it was not some organized attempt to overthrow the government. Donald Trump explicitly said, we are the party of law and order, remain peaceful. How is that him leading an insurrection? It's so silly. Not to mention, there were FBI informants on the ground that told their leadership in real time as it was happening that this was not a planned operation. It was something that happened spur of the moment, just like I described it. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Then whether or not 8-year-olds in California, their teachers tell their parents if they're trans or whatever. Okay. I didn't say it doesn't matter, but some things matter more than other things.
Right. In the day, you're right. It matters
less.
I am. What happened on January 6th. January 6th is wildly overblown. If it wasn't an insurrection, not a single person has been arrested or indicted on insurrection. Donald Trump was not accused of fomenting insurrection. The term is a left-wing lie about what happened on January 6th. I don't like January 6th. I condemned it when it happened. It was not an insurrection. That the language that the left uses, fascist, Nazi, insurrection, misinformation, disinformation, this is the language of division that you denied the left engages in.
First of all, I've never denied that the left engages in divisiveness. Of course they do. I'm just saying that Joe Biden himself doesn't, which is evident enough by how much joint legislation he's passed. This guy's got 40 years, in government. Of course, this guy, has relationships with people, isn't as divisive as he seems. And I think that's evidenced by what he can pass. To say that the insurrection is the language of leftists, this is the language that came to us in the 14th Amendment after the Reformation, when, surprise, surprise, after the Civil War, people in Congress didn't want leadership again. That was part of the Civil War. That shouldn't be that shocking. There's nothing left-wing about that idea. That should be a very American idea. We don't want people that would try to insurrect the government to fight against it. Also, if we want to talk about health issues, we're welcome to talk about it as well. But I care way less about the leftists have some crazy views on 8-year-olds being trans, which I think is really stupid, by the way. And I agree that that's stupid. But I care way more about the fact that I don't know if we're ever going to have a new vaccine in this country.
Doesn't this show the clear difference in the way liberals and conservatives think? Liberals are always looking for a gotcha against the right. In this case, it's January 6th. And Destiny did say one thing that was correct. He thinks some things are more important than others. Being directed to not tell parents about something significant that's going on with their child at school is a travesty. As Dennis said, and I already described, January 6th is way overblown by the left. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments. Is January 6th way overblown, or am I incorrect and Dennis incorrect? And it's something that we should take very seriously and that people should be held accountable for. We'd love to know your thoughts. As always, we really appreciate you watching this video. We'll see you on the next one.